Welcome back to Junkies, your weekly entertainment favourite podcast with me, Melissa Nattu.
You're really ploughing ahead with the favourites.
Yeah.
And me, Johnny Nelson. How are we doing today, Mel?
I'm very well, except I don't think I've spoken to enough people today and I can't get my words out.
You've got one word out, which we kept coming up in the run-through, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes. Coming up today, we're going to be talking about Coyote versus Acme.
You got it.
I got it. I kept saying Coyote versus Ugly.
Coyote versus Ugly is the sequel the world wants.
And also Jason Statham's new, surprise, action movie, Mutiny.
Wow, what a step into the unknown for Mr. Statham. Can't wait for that.
But first of all, we have all of the many D23 announcements that came out of Anaheim. There were a lot of them. So D23, by the way, for those who don't know, is a fan convention that is held by Disney in LA every year. You want to skim past a few of these and then onto the big one.
Yes, so there was another Doomsday teaser. We've talked Doomsday to death at the moment.
Yeah, we don't need to do any more.
But it was fun. Go and watch it, guys. A lot more RDJ and his funky accent.
And they wheeled out Ryan Gosling again for first look at Starfighter, the new Star Wars film.
With Levy as well. It's like this little twosome popping up a lot. You'll have to get used to that. They didn't really show much. They just explained what his character's like and things like that.
We're getting a Frozen 3 where I hear that Olaf finds love.
Really excited for that. Was that disingenuous? My ex-girlfriend from years ago excitedly showed me Frozen because I watched Lego Movie with her and I was like, Lego Movie, it's great, everyone can enjoy it. She was like, Frozen's the same. And then we watched it and I thought it was absolute shit.
Frozen's great.
I don't know. For an adult man,
don't you want to build a snowman?
No, I don't. You know what? I don't want to bring Frozen down. Frozen's a great movie that makes lots of people very happy. But
Johnny will not be speaking to any of the Frozen cast.
It's not as universal, I would say, as some other movies like the Toy Stories and your Lego movies.
Tell that to all of the young boys and girls around the world that absolutely love Frozen.
Yeah.
I love Frozen.
Fine.
We've also got our first proper look at the third season of Percy Jackson as well. I'm a big fan of Percy Jackson.
They're a big fan of Melissa Nattu.
They
really.
are.
I think that's probably why you're a big fan of Percy Jackson. Every year, Mel does the junket for the Percy Jackson cast and gets big views and gets on really well with this young cast. They find her very charming, both the cast and the audience. And I think Mel gets a little confidence boost from it.
I mean, it's nice. It's nice when your stuff does well.
Princess Diaries 3.
Are you excited about that one?
Can't wait.
More Anne Hathaway.
A lot. I think they did the Princess Diaries 2. They did that relatively quickly after the first one, I think, within the first few years, back at the kind of turn of the century, really, a long time ago. So it's really getting on that hype train of let's do belated sequels. She's already come out with one this year.
Right.
And I'm sure people will love it. Ahsoka Series 2 from Star Wars.
Did you watch season 1?
I watched a little bit because there was a Disney event in London a couple of years ago. And same sort of thing here, lots of announcements, and the cast came over. I spoke to all of them. And it was a fun little show, but I've got a lot of Star Wars fatigue at the moment. But it did well, critically and commercially, so I'm glad they're back.
But the big announcement, I think, that we got out of D23 is the full X-Men cast was announced. So let's go through these. We've got Kit Connor, previously of Heartstopper fame, playing Cyclops.
Exciting. I suppose for a few of these, there was a lot of names up in the ether at the time. They were talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman's son for a while for that, and people were like, that would be an interesting choice. And then Kit Connor just came out of nowhere, and I think it'd be a good one.
We've also got Christopher Abbott as Professor X, so he's known for Girls. He's also just had a baby with Aubrey Plaza.
Congratulations to the both of them.
Yeah, I didn't actually know much about him.
Yeah, like I one of those actors I was familiar. His face was familiar. You know, you've seen him in things, and they're often the really good ones. The ones you're like, oh, it's that guy. I liked him in this, but maybe he's even another rung below that. Perhaps better known to American audiences, but I'm sure he'll be great.
I didn't watch Girls, so that's maybe why he wasn't on my radar, but I did hear about him once he had a baby with Aubrey Plaza. So, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing
both
what
the
he can
baby
do.
and his performance in X-Men.
It's always a lot to measure up to Sir Patrick Stewart, so
yeah.
that's a big one.
And James McAvoy, who knocked it out the park.
Yes, that's true. But I think
really
all of this casting, like, they must know that they are going to be compared against the originals, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of go into it knowing that. We've got Indy Navarrete as Rogue, so you'll know her from Obsession.
Yes, indeed, and absolutely
And
nothing
else.
She is having a great 12 months. This one's been quite controversial as well, hasn't it?
I feel like people have turned on her in a way and almost feel like she's sold out to Marvel. But I kind of think, why not ride that wave? You're an actor. No one knows when you're going to... Like, obviously, she had great success with Obsession, but it doesn't mean that that's going to continue. So
and it doesn't
take the Marvel money.
It doesn't mean that's going to pay any bills.
Right?
If you're a working, successful actor for a number of years in, like, low-level or mid-level movies, then you could be expected to have made a decent living from it. If you've had one breakout role in an indie movie, that she probably has as much money in the bank as we do.
Right.
Well, maybe not now. There'll be ad deals and all sorts of stuff. But when she made that movie, so who can blame her for taking an opportunity like this? I think the danger with online is there's fan castings, which happen as well. And we saw this going all the way back to the casting of the Joker with Heath Ledger. People were fan casting certain actors. And when he was cast, there was a big backlash. He's going to be terrible. How can this beach blonde Australian guy
now everyone
do this?
Everyone is compared against him.
Exactly.
Everyone.
He is the level people
But
try and reach.
What an actor.
And in this regard, people were fan casting Kaylee Spaney. I think that Alessa Zion was said to have auditioned for it as well.
And I think also when you come through an indie movie, a lot of people expect you to take your time before you do your next project and really consider it and maybe do something else that's a bit more underground. I don't know, but they don't, I think, expect you to go straight into like something like Marvel. But I think good for her.
Like that actress from a few years ago in Sean Baker's movie Anora, Mikey Madsen.
Yes.
She did that movie and then famously had a lot of big offers made to her straight after she won the Oscar. And I think she turned down Starfighter.
That's
maybe.
the thing. I think people expect you to do that when you become this breakout star all of a sudden. But no, I'm here for the casting.
And I think if you do a Marvel TV show, it might be slightly different. But a Marvel movie, there's still usually a lot of kudos around it. I think it's directed by the guy who did Thunderbolts, and that was kind of critically...
It was great.
Commercially, it didn't do really well, but critically it did very well. So I think you could expect this movie to be interesting. So let's forgive Indy for her discretions.
One which people might not know necessarily, Maya Boyd. She's been cast as Storm, and she was actually a Broadway star. So she's probably going to be the lesser known, probably lesser known than Christopher Abbott. She made her Broadway debut in Merrily We Roll Along.
I think that's the one with Daniel Radcliffe.
That's
possibly.
right.
And old Spittlmouth from Hamilton, Jonathan Groff.
She was still in university when she did that, and this is her first movie role.
You bitch.
Don't you hate it when people are that talented?
I love castings when they're brave enough to go for someone who's obviously got the talent but doesn't have the brand and the name.
And I actually think she'll be a great Storm. Samara Weaving, who I know mainly from Ready or Not fame, she's been cast as Emma Frost.
This is an interesting one because Samara Weaving is probably one of the maybe the larger names on this list, perhaps slightly older than some of the other cast as well, which tracks for Emma Frost, who wasn't supposed to be this young thing. But Emma Frost hasn't been a kind of a
well-known
main character energy in the X-Men movies in the past. I knew her more from, I think I had an Emma Frost Top Trumps card.
Oh, did you?
When
I was hoping you were saying a doll, because then
it wasn't
I
quite,
could make fun of you.
Let's not get into that conversation again. No, I think I had her on a kind of like a comic book sort of card at one point. I remember thinking, she's nice.
I bet you did.
But also, I don't really know who she is. So that could be interesting to see whether her role is larger in this movie and in this new iteration than we've seen her role be in the past.
And there's a lot of love for Samara Weaving. People
definitely.
really actually love those Ready or Not films.
Her uncle is Hugo Weaving from the Lord of the Rings movies.
No way!
I know that from my research when I interviewed her a long time ago. And when I brought that up, I think I was a lot more excited to talk about it than she was. But yeah, facts, straight facts.
So she's kind of a Nepo baby?
Kind of a Nepo baby.
Nepo niece.
Nepo niece.
And the big one, Adam Driver. I was not expecting this at all. I never thought I would see him in... I know he's obviously done like Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
probably what people know him for the most, and obviously like House of Gucci and Ferrari. But I was not expecting to hear Adam Driver's name. He's been cast as Nathaniel Milbury, aka Mr. Sinister.
Another character we haven't really seen much of in it at all, I think.
It's kind of like they brought in the bigger names to play the lesser-known characters.
Yeah, I think maybe there's an element to that which, for the bigger name actors like Adam Driver, he's thinking, well, I can go into a Marvel movie, but I'm not going to be typecast because I'm not taking this role that is so famous and everyone knows.
And he's
I'm
not
going to do
compared
something else
against anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you make an interesting point that we think of Adam Driver in a different way. Like, we think of him almost as an indie darling. We think of him as someone who just takes kind of interesting choices, but he does do big movies.
He goes after the money as well.
And he became famous from the biggest franchise of all time, and I think we almost forget it. He didn't make Marriage Story, and then everyone was like, Adam Driver, get his face on all the posters. It was Star Wars.
Straight in.
I do worry. I would have liked to see him. There was rumours of him circling around Professor X at one point, or Magneto, I think it was, Magneto. I do worry about him playing another kind of tortured, angry character in a big franchise movie, because we have seen it before.
But he does it so well.
He does it pretty well.
So it's kind of a safe casting in that way.
In a way, yeah. I think I would have, as much as I'm tired of Star Wars movies, I would have liked to see The Hunt for Ben Solo, which a lot of fans wanted out there, because I preferred his character flip towards the end, spoiler alert, towards the end of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, because I thought in that 5 minutes where we get to see him being more heroic and a little bit more like his dad, Han Solo, spoiler alert, I thought he did that really well, and I would have liked to see more. I kind of hope that he would take like a hero role, basically.
I feel like nothing is ever written off in Hollywood in terms of,
I suppose. I mean,
that could come
RDJ has proved that already, hasn't he?
Right. We're never getting rid of him. He's never leaving Marvel.
So Mr. Sinister could turn into Mr. Nice by the end of the decade.
So yeah, that is our X-Men casting. I'm excited for it.
It's really hard to see past Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's just such a big thing. It's hard to imagine like the MCU beyond that point, and whatever happens to those characters in that time.
I obviously haven't mentioned their Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, but we have obviously seen her already announced, and spoiler alert, in Spider-Man.
Everyone's seen it now. Look at the bloody numbers, Ellen. I've not heard much dissent among the ranks.
She does a great job in Spider-Man.
Correct.
Which you have now seen. So
as I said before, I like Thunderbolts, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. I think the response to this cast has been muted at best, and I think they'll be relying on these next two big movies to really reboot the excitement around the MCU kind of franchise for this movie to do really well.
And I'm assuming they will be in these next movies.
I don't know.
Do you not think?
Maybe they'll be, maybe in Secret Wars a little bit. There was an interesting quote from Sebastian Stan in the last day or two where he said that he doesn't know what happens in Doomsday. They've all been given small, partial scripts. They're filming it in bits.
Isn't it just Robert Downey Jr. who's been given the whole thing?
I think there was I saw an interview, a really awkward interview with the whole cast.
I saw the really awkward interview.
I'm sure like one
where
person
someone asked who got the full script.
Yeah. I think a lot of them do just have little scraps. So I think even the cast don't know how many of the other cast are going to be in it, and neither do we. But I don't think they'll play a major part. No,
but I think it's a good way to tease them into that main film.
Certainly maybe a character or two.
Yeah.
Because I imagine the X-Men are going to come together in the new movie rather than be a fully formed thing. And you don't want to take the shine off the original X-Men cast, who are definitely going to die. In the next
they're
movie.
in it, aren't they?
Yeah. Minutes or so, who knows? Rumours of James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender possibly signing on as well.
Wow. Okay, so we're done with X-Men. Let's park that for now. We got the first trailer for VisionQuest. So this is the final in the trilogy of the WandaVision.
Agatha All Along.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we had WandaVision, we had Agatha All Along. This is completing it.
I'm excited for this. Very excited for this. I really loved WandaVision. WandaVision was great.
Yes. Such a surprise.
Yeah. And so weird and such a big swing, which it felt like they weren't doing so much on the kind of the Marvel TV series, Disney TV series at the time. But it wasn't afraid to kind of lose audiences. It wasn't afraid to kind of be odd and weird and draw that out. Like you really had to watch those episodes after episodes to kind of to kind of understand what was going on, and also to get your sort of superhero-y, MCU-y fix, because it wasn't of that vein. But this looks interesting, and it looks like another interesting creative swing again.
It looks like he's out to save his son, who he didn't realise existed. He thought, obviously, the whole family that he had in WandaVision was not real.
Mm-hmm.
And then he is proved wrong.
Ish. We don't know. There's no confirmation that this kid, this guy, this young man in this claimed to be his son is actually the son that they had in WandaVision. But it's an interesting kind of retreat of Paul Bettany's Vision character from. It's actually technically not the same Vision we saw in
because
WandaVision.
He got killed off, right?
Yeah, so he was like a consciousness that was in WandaVision. But then, if you watch that series, you'd also seen the physical body, the physical aspect of Vision, which was the real Vision technically, kind of was brought back to life again and was being used as this sort of, I don't know, as just like a super soldier, basically, to try and bring them down. But then Vision, the consciousness, got through to Vision, the body, and he kind of was almost like reborn, but without, maybe with a lot of the memories, but without his identity. And this, again, it sounds so complex, but it's entertaining, guys. But in this, he is like retreating within himself to work out who he is and to sort of balance the memories of the Vision and who he is now and where he fits into the world. And it's a very welcome return from James Spader, who of course
Ultron.
was Ultron, playing this father figure, almost a kind of an evil father figure to Vision, which in many ways he was, because look at how Ultron started and how Vision started, going back to Avengers 2, I guess.
Listen, there are so many Easter eggs in this trailer. It's actually unreal. We haven't got time to get into it right now.
I didn't realise how nerdy I felt about this. I didn't realise that. This is the thing. I'm kind of like, I look down on like Avengers movies and MCU going, oh yeah, it's just those big, massive movies taking over the cinema. And yet you start talking about it and you realise how much it's gotten through to you and how much these characters mean to you. So fair play to them. Like,
well, I'm sure we'll be covering it much, much more when it comes out. Coming to Disney Plus on October the 14th. Let's take a break, Johnny, and then when we come back, I will try and get the title of the next film we're discussing correct. And we're actually going to speak more about films that were cancelled.
Okay, let's get into some new releases, shall we? I'll say it this time so I can get it right. Coyote versus Acme. Yes. Although I really like Coyote versus Ugly now, that's going to stay with me. I'm excited to see this film, and it's kind of like the little film that could.
I think we particularly are excited to see it because we grew up with Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not necessarily a cartoon that is on TV anymore that kids nowadays are seeing.
That's true.
So I think this film is very much made for our generation.
Yeah. I think there were two films that kind of coloured our generation with regards to this kind of content. One of them was Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
One of my all-time favourites.
Which wasn't the Looney Tunes, I don't think.
No.
But it was kind of a human, real-life person, Bob Hoskins, R.I.P., going into like a cartoon world, or cartoons invading his world, on kind of living side by side, and the fun that ensues in that. And then the other one, of course, was Space Jam, very much Looney Tunes. Huge movie when we were growing up. And I truly found that stuff magical. The idea that you could be a person.
But that was our first kind of taste of like live action.
Yeah, in a way. Like live action.
I know they were still cartoons, but it was mixed with real life people. They brought the cartoons into the real world.
So you're
and
saying
we hadn't seen that before.
It was like a bridge between going from children's movies, which often were kind of 2D animations when we were kids, like 101 Dalmatians and Hercules and all that kind of stuff, into watching adult movies with real people in them. We got the best of both worlds. Yeah, I love that movie so much.
But this was a film that almost wasn't.
Correct. Yeah, it was made by Warner Brothers back in 2022. 2022 to you and me. And it was apparently testing really, really well, as they always say. And then Warner Brothers decided to shelve it. And I don't know whether they came out and admitted it, but it was a very, very well-known thing in the industry that it was done for a tax write-off. It was done for tax purposes. There was no big reason behind it. They didn't think that, if we put this out, we're not going to make a lot of money. They just decided to cut their losses. Probably been going on a while, but it feels like a phenomenon that's happening more and more in these gigantic distributors.
Was this one definitely a tax write-off, though? Because I believe, from what I know, that when it's a tax write-off, they legally can't release it at all, ever. Because that's what happened with Batgirl. And that was a tax write-off. And from what I've read, that one can never be released because it was a tax write-off. So I don't know necessarily where the Coyote versus Acme was, but they definitely did it to save money in some way, because studios spend millions on marketing and promotion, which obviously they then don't do if they don't release the film, right?
Yeah.
And they see it as a bigger save for them.
But they also know they have to spend a certain amount of money each year. And I think sometimes they just pump it into certain projects, even if they don't believe in the project. Often I think these things don't get off the ground. They make some of it, they might go into pre-production, whatever, and then it gets cancelled. Look what happened to Marvel's Wonder Man recently, really critically acclaimed.
I'm so gutted that's been cancelled.
About to go, they said they were doing another series, they were about to go into the writer's room, and then they cancelled it. And I think that was very much a bottom line thing. Kevin Feige apparently was a fan of the show, and there's certain claims that, everyone loved it, but it wasn't doing well enough, so they just thought, well, we're not going to pump it, we're going to go into a different direction. This is a movie where they went into production, they wrote it, they acted it, they did all the animation, they did all the editing, they got it all done. They started showing it to people liked it, and then they said, actually, no. It seems very shady to me. The amount of work that goes into this kind of, especially this kind of animation where it's like drawn, the amount of work that goes into it just to kind of be put in a box and saying we're not going to do anything with it. And then it's taken these 4 years to be shopped around. There was a lot of fan campaigns out there trying to support the idea of it coming out and seeing the light of day. Sometimes it takes things to be leaked or stolen for it to work. Look what happened with Deadpool. Deadpool wasn't going to be made. They made a little sort of teaser for it. Didn't go anywhere. They shelved it, then someone stole the teaser and released it on the internet. That blew up, and then they commissioned them to make the first movie.
Did they ever find out who leaked it? Did they get sued?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear it's got something to do with Ryan
I
Reynolds.
know, right?
But he's made them enough money since that I don't think anyone minds. And the Batgirl one was probably the most famous of that in recent years. Huge production.
That was Leslie Grace.
And loads of big people were in that. Michael Keaton was going to come back as Batman prior to the Flash movie. And it was a huge, big deal. And then, poof, gone. No one sees it anymore.
Such a shame.
I'm delighted this movie's finally got its release. It ticks all those boxes from childhood. And also, I love the story. I love the story of this little movie that was pushed into the deep recesses of this huge, massive, industrious conglomerate, and then it's found its way into the light, and it's finally getting its kudos. And I love Will Forte, who's known from SNL fame,
and it's got John Cena in it as well.
And this feels like a kind of one of those wins for Cena, where he's perfectly cast and it's a fun movie and he shows off his skills in a way that you have to respect. Did make us think of some other movies that have been canned over the years, didn't see the light of day, for better or worse. Fantastic Four in 1994 was quite a famous one.
Yes. But we've had plenty of that afterwards, so that's okay. We've
had enough of them. A famous one back in the day the clown cried.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Now, this one I've known for a while, and I think I've seen a couple of little clips of it. It's Jerry Lewis, who is a comic actor, who made a movie about a clown cheering up kids in the concentration camps during the Holocaust. Yes.
That sounds like a hard sell.
Yes, and they made it. And then I think he watched it and said, this can never see the light of day, and famously pulled all copies. There's a rumour that there's a famous actor out there that has a copy of this somewhere, but otherwise you can't find more than a few scraps of clips.
Yeah, I don't think that's one that's ever going to get leaked.
All-Star Weekend 2019, Robert Downey Jr. and Jamie Foxx, they deemed that times had moved on too much whilst after they'd made the movie, that the humour was no longer appropriate.
I think if you wait long enough, It will come back around.
That is true. But All-Star Weekend was made in 2019. It just shows how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
2019 was very recent. So I'd love to hear what was in that.
And Glitterati.
Glitterati was another Bret Easton Ellis, famous for writing The Shards, of course, now. An American Psycho. He had a movie, I think in the late 90s, which got shelved. It'd be nice to have a movie night one day where you unearth all of this stuff and just watch this kind of cancelled movie.
We don't run in those circles, sadly, to
Not
be
yet.
able to get that access. But listen, as the podcast grows, who knows?
Who knows? I want distributors, if you're listening to this, please send us your cancelled movies and let us talk about them.
But we're both very happy that Coyote versus Acme has been released.
Coyote versus Ugly?
Stop it.
That's a better name, if anything.
It is. Right, let's take another break. And when we come back, we will discuss how I almost became a massive Hollywood star. Maybe.
All right, another movie I really wanted to talk about now that comes out the same day as Coyote versus Acme, 21st of August, guys, is Mutiny by Jason Statham, with Jason Statham.
Starring Jason Statham.
By Statham, with Statham, for Statham. It is yet another... I don't like to say mindless, because there is thought involved, but another fun, silly, action-packed, probably semi-tongue-in-cheek, very Jason Statham movie.
I love that he's fully embraced this side of him.
Completely.
And he actually doesn't take himself that seriously, whereas I think he did back in the day.
Yeah, I think when he started off I love the Jason Statham story. He was a synchronized diver.
Yeah.
Maybe not a synchronized diver. I think he might have been. He certainly did that diving, but he might have just done it on his own. And then is it synchronized? Probably not. But I think he was in like the Commonwealth Games
and
or
like
something.
A model.
And he was a model.
He was in a music video. If you haven't seen the music video for The Shaman, please go and look it up on YouTube, because the dancing is something else.
Is he
it is my favorite. It is my favorite Jason Statham role.
I bet it is. Certainly looks like his slipperiest role. I love I think some people were just ordained to be famous, and you see the choices he was making as a young man. Like, I'm going to be a diver, I'm going to be a dancer, I'm going to be this, that, and the other. And then he ends up in a Guy Ritchie movie, which was an era-defining Guy Ritchie movie, and he plays slightly more of the cool, calm, collected guy in Lock, Stock.
Back when you liked Guy Ritchie films.
Back when Guy Ritchie liked his own films. He certainly spent more time making them. And I think, and that exploded his career.
Yeah.
But I would have never thought he would go from that to being the British sort of Sylvester Stallone for 2 decades that he's been doing these kind of movies.
Yeah,
now.
I'm trying to think if there's any films that he's done of recent times which aren't along this action type. But there aren't really. There was The Meg.
Yeah, The Meg,
which was great.
Just silly movies.
Yeah,
he's done somewhat veer slightly more into comedy than others. I really liked him in Spy with Melissa McCarthy,
yeah.
And again, he's playing a kind of tongue-in-cheek version, even more tongue-in-cheek version of the characters he usually plays. Kind of the hard man, jumping into explosions, sort of fella, but kind of he was a bit more hapless in a way in that, and he would say the wrong thing. But these movies, people love them, and I love them. We can look down on them, but I love them.
So what is Mutiny about?
Mutiny, as far as I'm aware, is Jason Statham getting on a boat. I think he is effectively the mutiny. He gets onto a boat, and he is killing all the bad guys on that boat.
This sounds very much like Shelter, which was the last film that I spoke to him for. And I actually went and did a stunt day for that film where we recreated a scene from it.
That's
so
cool.
I had like stunt training and everything, and then we did a scene and they filmed it and they edited it to look like a scene from the film. And I actually got to show it to him as well.
That's so
when
good.
I interviewed him for the film.
Yeah.
And let me just say, he was very impressed.
I bet.
But I said to him at the time, I was like, so I've got a role in your next film, right? As I was leaving the room, and he's like, yep, guaranteed. And do you know what? I got a call.
That is the reason. You never told me this.
I don't know if it's because of that.
Okay, right.
But I did put that clip online, right?
Yeah.
So it did exist.
You put that out into the world.
Yes.
You manifested
the universe
that. Yeah.
knew that I wanted to be in a Jason Statham film. And then I got a call from a casting director for Jason Statham's. I say next film. It's not the film. It's not Mutiny.
It's not Mutiny, but the one after that.
It is for Jason Statham Stole My Bike, which will be coming out, I think, next year.
This
movie
maybe
later this year.
It's called Jason Statham Stole My Bike.
Yes, it's quite meta.
It sounds very meta. Yeah. I wonder who he's playing. The bike, hopefully.
But I had to do a self-tape. They sent me the lines.
Yeah.
And I had to film a self-tape and send it to them. And essentially, I think the role was pretty much mine. Like, I just had to obviously do it so that they could show it to the director, who was the same director as the
movie you talked about.
As Shelter. And it was so typical that the 1 week that they wanted to film it, I was on a cruise on holiday with my family, and I couldn't get out of it.
I can imagine you sat, like, as they're all lounging themselves on this cruise, just sat there
seething
with a stormy face.
This
just absolutely
could have been my big break.
That could have been it. You could have been Jason Statham's bicycle, or other. Who knows?
It was for a role playing a newsreader.
That's great. Funnily enough, one of my big sliding doors moments, but I was never going to get it, was back when I was doing like kids TV and stuff like that. I got an audition for Ted Lasso before they made it, and it was as a kind of a football journalist. And I had worked as a football journalist. I'd done like stuff with the Premier League and stuff. And I went down. I was late to catch my train on the hottest day of the year. To go up to kind of make my kids' TV up in Manchester, and I got on the wrong tube. So I remember like getting back to Camden and running with this suitcase, and I was wearing like a jumper because I thought it made me look a bit more like professional. A jumper and a shirt underneath, and like trousers and shoes, running to get to this casting for Ted Lasso. And I got there completely and utterly drenched in sweat, so sweaty. And I went in front of this camera, and they were just going, "You don't have to be this nervous. You're okay." And I was stumbling over my words, trying to explain, like, no, actually, I make loads of telly. I'm just really hot because I was late. And it was just probably the worst audition anyone has ever seen.
But you got a part in Ted Lasso.
Yeah, but I was like background. So I ended up being like a referee in Ted Lasso, and I also played a linesman. I think I mostly just played referees.
I remember, like, because you told me, and I was like watching Ted Lasso. I'm like, Jonny, where are you?
Yeah.
Like, why can I not see you?
I was a referee / linesman, but that was like background actor stuff. Which again I haven't really done before or since. But this one would have been like a speaking part in the show as a journalist,
right?
Not the main one, but someone else, which would have been fun considering how big that show turned out to be. But
that could have been your big break. I did have an extras part in Neighbours, which, if everyone again knows, that Neighbours was my favourite show of all time.
Is your favourite show of all time?
And I cry about it every day. But I did go and be an extra in Neighbours, and then when it came to it, all you could see was my hand.
Oh, that's still pretty cool, because you went to Erinsborough. You went all the way over there to do that. Our lives, Mel. Our lives could have been so different had we...
You know what? Our lives don't sound that bad when we say that we've had those little experiences.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just going to put it out into the universe again, that I would
still like to be in a Jason Statham movie.
Or any movie at all. Actually, Jonny, what is one movie that you wish that you had been in?
Oh... I mean, I always go back to like my favourite movie, which is Stand By Me, just because it was like a bunch of kids of my age when I kind of first saw that movie anyway, and it just looked like a lot of fun. But stuff like those kind of movies from our childhood, to have been able to step into that. Harry Potter. I also sent an application to audition for Harry Potter back in the day, not for the HBO series, and never even got a reply, and that irritates me because there's some pretty shit actors in the Harry Potter movies, and I think I could have at least done something. What about you?
My whole life was told that I was like Princess Jasmine, and so I really wanted to be in the live action Aladdin movie as Princess Jasmine. Like, even Little Mix, I used to interview Little Mix all the time back in the day, and they would always call me Princess Jasmine. So in my head I was like, I'm Princess Jasmine. And I really wanted to, but maybe it's a good thing, because I don't think that also did that great.
It didn't do that right, yeah.
I wanted to be an actress though when I was growing up, so maybe I just look at every film now and I'm like, oh, should it be me?
I think it's a little bit like for a lot of journalists who especially work in film, like a lot of them watch these movies growing up and wish they could kind of be involved. But if you don't come from a place where there's a lot of acting and things, or your school doesn't do a lot of drama and stuff, that certainly was my case, those opportunities don't really come, and you have to kind of create them for yourself. But you never know. You never know, Mel. Our time is not up yet.
I will tell Jason Statham once again that I would like to be in
exactly
his next film
and see if you get another call.
See what happens.
And you know what, Jason, if you're out there listening, I would also like to be in your next film.
Just before we go, Jonny, you wanted to do a shout out, didn't you?
Yes, thank you. I forgot about that. This is to @MarkCrespo-H5K8Z. This guy's we are going to film this podcast properly. We've got our own studio with a backdrop and cameras and everything. We're going to start filming it and giving you guys content to watch very, very soon. But up until now, we've just been slowly building this thing, and we put the podcast on various different platforms. One of those is YouTube, on the Pop Drop YouTube. And not a lot of people have been seeing it on there just yet, but Mark Crespo has been listening and has left a couple of comments. And I thought, you know what, that deserves reward.
That's very nice.
It just deserves. So
that is very nice.
Keep
Thank
listening,
you.
Mark. And
we
thank
do
you.
appreciate all the support, of course, while we've been finding our feet with this. And yes, so anyone who has taken the time to listen, we do appreciate it. So please do continue to listen, and please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Jonny, thank you for today.
Mel, thank you for today.
And we will see you next time.